In this video walkthrough, we are going to discuss the Amusement Park. To begin the game, find all cards and tokens with the roller coaster icon. You should have event cards, escape cards, objective items, and a few tokens. To set up the event deck, randomly select one of the major events that has 3 exclamation points. Then shuffle the moderate events with 2 exclamation points and place them on top of the major event. Lastly, shuffle the minor events and place them on top of the stack. Taking a look at the map, there are 5 buildings from which we will collect evidence. The amusement park offers more advanced mechanics than the sawmill. Throughout the map, some spaces are separated by pink squiggly lines. These lines block line of sight, but can't be moved through as they are curtains. At the top of the map is a mirror maze which has doors that will change which ones are open and closed. The adversary player will place the 2 closed and 1 open door at the beginning of each round. For example, if Marcy wants to travel through the green circle to space M16, she flips that token over. The green circle has the closed door icon this round, which means it cannot be traveled through. Note that the adversary also follows these rules, but does not have to flip the token when moving through the door. Lastly, the doors in the mirror maze never block line of sight. At the bottom of the map is the Tunnel of Love ride. All spaces within here are connected by 2 blue lines. The first time an investigator moves onto one of these spaces during their turn, they are moved 2 spaces clockwise. Mitchell must now spend 2 movement points to return to the light switch. Note that the movement from the ride itself does not spend movement points. On the left side of the map are the carnival games, which have a yellow duck icon. During setup, place the duck tokens on these spaces. When an investigator, say Ira, wants to play a game, she moves on to that space. She then picks one of the 3 games from the rulebook on page 16. If successful, she removes the duck token and draws an item card. If not, she can play again next round. At the top of the map is a Ferris wheel. These spaces are connected by pink lines that simulate the Ferris wheel's movement. The first time an investigator moves on to a carriage space during their turn, they are moved to the next carriage space. Since Marcy moved onto the back of the carriage, she will then be moved to the back of the next carriage on space 117. Marcy then begins her next turn on a carriage space, which means she is immediately moved to the next carriage. There are also yellow dashed lines connecting some of the spaces to the carriages. These spaces cannot be moved through, but do allow the adversary to attack an investigator, so if the butcher was hiding on space 78, he can now attack Marcy. Now let's turn our attention to the ticket booths. Investigators can turn 1 or more pieces of evidence in at one of the ticket booths, the yellow spaces with a ticket icon. Like the sawmill, ticket booths are involved actions. This means investigators can't use a flashlight, gain charge, or stamina. For each piece of evidence they turn in, they can take one of the rewards on the card. Once the investigators turn in all of the evidence based on the number of players, they can begin their escape route. Like the sawmill, there are 2 escape routes to choose from with 2 variants each. Randomly select one of the options for each path. They have matching symbols on the top right of the card. Once both escape routes have been selected, have the adversary place their own escape route into the mix as well. The investigators will now choose one of these escape routes. We will begin by looking at the mirror maze. We begin by placing a locked escape token on space M20 and the right part tokens on spaces C9 and 57. Then the investigators must roll a d6 to determine where the angle grinder is spawned. They roll a 3, so the angle grinder is placed on space T36. Now get the player aid with the matching angle grinder icon in the top left. It is titled Service Tunnels. We see that the investigators need to collect the angle grinder. Mitchell Carter is nearby, so he goes to get the angle grinder. He finds the matching card from the objective item deck. In order to collect the ride parts, an investigator must roll a d6 and take an involved action. Mitchell has made his way to the top of the map where the ride parts have spawned. Since his space isn't bright, there is a high chance he will gain a wound while getting the ride parts from the zipper. Luckily, he rolls a 6 and takes no damage. With the ride parts and angle grinder in hand, he may now cut open the tunnels. He takes an involved action to place an escape token on the round tracker, 1 round out from the current one. Next round, flip the locked escape token on the board to the escape side. All investigators may now escape the map in order to win. Now let's instead say that the investigators chose the zipper card, which is the Fire the Flare escape route. We begin by again placing the locked escape token on the board, space 71. Then we roll a d6 to determine where the flare gun and the 2 ammo tokens are placed. A 1 is rolled, so we place the flare gun on space M36, the ammo tokens on spaces M20 and 149. Looking at the objective card, the investigators must collect the flare gun and at least 1 piece of ammo to fire off the flare. On Ira's turn, she moves to the ammo, takes it, along with the matching card. She then makes her way to the mirror maze to pick up the flare gun. Now that she has both the flare gun and ammo, she can take an evolved action to fire off the flare from the locked escape token on the zipper. Once she does this, the investigators place an escape token 2 rounds out from now on the round tracker. Once the round marker reaches the escape token, the investigators may take an action in any carriage of the zipper to escape.